Talk me through it.
Yeah, that first quarter was about as bad as anyone could play defence. I think we'd cycled through all of our defensive coverages, bar two of them, 13 minutes into the game. And it's hard to keep changing schemes when you haven't actually done one yet. So we're just trying to wake them up. And it's weird because obviously our first half of our games a month ago were great, and our second halves we faded out. And all of a sudden we've gone the exact opposite way for no apparent reason. Like nothing's changed. So don't know why we started like that. Again, all the credit in the world to Canberra for being switched on, but we were asleep 2 weeks in a row. And then obviously seeing Erie go down like that, it's like, oh, they could completely turn off right now. Luckily they woke up.
So what did you say to them at quarter time, given she was still laying on the court at that point? Everyone would have been looking at her and being really worried, and the scoreboard was horrible. What's your message then?
Well, first off, get your head in here, because their heads hadn't been in the game yet. And again, the hearts are always in the right place. Like they're trying to look on court and see if their teammates all right. So you get it. It's like, hey, we've got a game to win right here. Like we've got to sort this out first. We've got best support staff in the country, like looking after us. She'll be okay, but we've got to try and fix some things. So that was more about like just getting a scheme right than anything else, and trying to actually lock into the game.
And then Chloe Forster comes on and gives you genuine energy and turned the game in 3 minutes.
Yeah, she tried. Like she was really good, but she came out there with a I'm going to bust my backside kind of mentality. And maybe that's what woke her. Like again, I want to watch some film. But as you said, like it was around the time we started to wake up. We started to make a few shots, but we couldn't get our offensive transition game going because they just kept shooting 1-on-0 layups. It felt like in the first 8 minutes. I think they had 22 points on the board in the first 6. So that means that we can't get our offensive transition going, and now we're running in mud. And yeah, Forster was great.
Logic says that when someone's on crutches and can't play out a game, that they're going to be unavailable for a period of time. Like, do you automatically think, or what do we do now to cover for her if she's missing for 2 weeks, or if she's missing for the rest of the season?
No, I don't think about that at all. Well, first off, I hope the kid's all right. And again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. Again, we had Steph Gorman in a moon boot, and it looks awful, but she was fine, relatively fine. It was just preventative. So again, the crutches, I don't know if that's worst case, best case. I'm not a doctor. So, as I said before, it's why we try and race out of the blocks and get a good start to the season. What are we now? Is it 8-3 or whatever it is? But we're on 8 wins. Again, it's a race of 12. We've been saying that since pre-season. So I know people are starting to race ahead and it's 1v2 against Townsville. It's not relevant. Like, it's can we get to 12 wins? And obviously, can we get Erie back on the floor at some point? But that's all we're thinking about right now.
You talked the other day about Amy and how happy you were with her scoring, but you wanted to see some more at the defensive end, and then she takes that charge at the end. Is that what you were referring to? Yeah,
in fairness, that's the one area of her defensive game that she's always been elite. She's always put her body on the line, always. She would lead our team in charges taken in the last 2 years. And for a shooting guard, that's really rare. So that play was elite. And again, she's just been much, much better defensively. Clearly she's making shots and everyone will notice that, and that'll make the highlight reels and that'll make the ESPN coverages. It's the defensive end we care way more about. And again, you saw it in that last play.
With Erie likely to miss for a while, having someone who can score 30 plus like she did, that's so important for this team, for Amy now, isn't it?
Oh, it helps. And again, she's a world-class shooter, making shots. Next, can we get a good child going? Can we get Gorman going? We'll find points. From memory, we had, was it 88 against Sydney, and Erie had 6. I think that sounds about right. So we can, once that clock stops, we can score. And again, obviously, we understand Erie's leading the league in scoring, but she's not carrying the workload, especially in the first half of games. She's kind of taking her time, picking her spots, and then she comes home with a bang. So we've been able to score without her. Clearly, it just makes it harder now.
1v2 is exciting. Even though you don't like to talk ladders, how do you view that automatically now, knowing that you've got the 2 games against them, and it is something that can either define your season or put you back into the pack?
Yeah, in all honesty, hadn't thought. I know we go to Townsville next. Hadn't thought about the 2 games, and I understand the romantic side of the league, and they want to see 1v2 and blah blah blah, and I get all that. And for us, it's not relevant. We've got to get to 12 wins. So can we steal one up there? That'd be great. They're obviously the defending champs for a reason. Their roster is mega loaded. Going up there is the hardest place to play in the country. So trying to get one, great. But we then come back and play Adelaide here, Canberra there. We've got to get 4 more wins. Where they come from doesn't really matter.
Does it excite you, the challenge of Townsville in Townsville?
it excites me, the challenge of finding a way to beat teams without Airy. Because again, we need to change our tack now. Obviously, when that happens in game, it's hard because you've been planning a certain way all week and you've got to change your entire strategy at quarter time. Luckily, we sucked so bad in the first quarter, we had to change anyway. But the glass half full of it happening there is that, okay, we now get 3 or 4 days to build a game plan that obviously Townsville won't be ready for without her. Clearly, we'd rather have her, but at least now I guess we have the element of surprise.
Great, thank you.